the deflategate. I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back, Chiefs fans. My name is Taylor Bell, and this is Chiefs Studios. Thank you for joining us. Now, as we roll in, we just got done with Week 15, seemingly feels like just a few days ago, and we are rolling into Week 16. Pretty fast, right? So this is a special game. It will be played on Christmas Day at noon. So I'm assuming the whole country is going to be watching this game. Very, very big game versus the Las Vegas Raiders. It will be the second game against the Raiders. Now, this will be at Arrowhead Stadium, so Kansas City will get the home field advantage. Excuse me. Yes, the whole country should be watching. Now, there's 3 games on Christmas Day. Should be a fantastic day for football and hopefully a victorious day for the Chiefs. Let's get into some news. Look, I want to cover getting into the game. We're going to preview the Raiders game. We're going to get into news, injury reports, anything behind the scenes. We have some moves that the Chiefs made. Pretty interesting roster moves. We'll get into some light news as well, get into the odds and stuff like that. But, getting into, let me share the screen right here. Since it will be a Christmas Day game, people are in the Christmas spirit, the giving spirit, right? And it is tradition. Ever since I can remember, it's been tradition for the starting quarterback of each NFL franchise to basically gift their offensive linemen something, right? I remember on what was it? I remember, I think Carson Palmer for the Cincinnati Bengals gave, I think, everybody, all the offensive linemen starting and backups, Rolexes, custom Rolexes. There was another one that gave Sea-Doos, jet skis to, I think it was on the Miami team. And Patrick Mahomes finally decided to gift his linemen just yesterday in practice. There's an article that came out that said Mahomes gifts custom golf carts to Chiefs offensive linemen. Mahomes was clearly feeling the holiday spirit. These are pretty cool. Check these out. So Creed Humphrey and Donovan Smith, offensive linemen for the Chiefs. I believe they posted this on Instagram. Mahomes gifted each lineman custom golf carts. Now, as you know, Mahomes this past offseason, well, he's always been into golf, but this past offseason really got into golf. There was a famous tournament where he was paired up with Travis Kelce playing against Steph Curry. And who was the other teammate? Draymond Green, I believe. And then he also has a famous matchup against Canelo Alvarez. So he's definitely in the golfing spirit, definitely not golfing weather at the moment, unless you're in South Texas, like my dad and my Uncle Darcy went to go play golf in Dallas last weekend. So I'm not sure it's the best golfing weather in Kansas City at the moment, but nonetheless, they can park these in the garage and they'll be waiting for them when springtime rolls around. Now, speaking of Mahomes, Christmas, and football, he did say it's a little bittersweet, right? They all had their press conferences yesterday, and Mahomes admits that he's a little disappointed to miss Christmas with his family for the Chiefs-Raiders game. Now, I read this and I was like, yeah, I kind of would be too. Then I was like, wait a second. They're playing at home, and it's a noon, 12 p.m. kickoff time, right? Game's probably 3.5 hours. He'll probably be back in the locker room around 3:30 p.m. Probably be home by 5. So I was like, man, there's plenty. You can wake up, you can have a Christmas breakfast with your family, your wife and kids, go to the game, beat the Raiders, ball out, have a badass game, and then come home and have your Christmas dinner with the family. So that sounds like a perfect day to me. Um, Maybe look, he's not used to. Look, we're not used to football on Christmas days. Normally, traditionally, it's always been basketball, right? NBA, and I'm not too wild about the NBA, but over the last few years since NFL started to play on Christmas, man, it's like a Thanksgiving all over again, right? Except these games are better than Thanksgiving because traditionally Thanksgiving has like Cowboys, Washington, New York Giants, some of the more traditional NFL franchises, but a lot of the times they're not having that good of a year. Now, Dallas does or is having a good year, but Washington, the Giants, nobody wants to watch them, right? So this lineup, we'll get into the lineup here in a minute for the games, but these games will be good. So I think they should have no issues whatsoever. I'm sure they'll have everything planned out a-okay for Christmas here. Now, getting into another teammate who talked about playing on Christmas Day is Travis Kelce. Now, Travis Kelce has a podcast with his brother, and he said he absolutely loves playing on Christmas Day and expects the Chiefs versus the Raiders to be quote-unquote electric. What a better way to enjoy Christmas than some football at Arrowhead. I cannot agree more. So it's interesting to see. Look, I haven't seen the quote Mahomes. Well, I'm sure he is, right? Everybody would love to take the day off and spend it with family, but look, I think if he couldn't do that, he would be playing football as far as Mahomes goes. So I'm sure he's not that disappointed, but Kelsey's fired up, ready to go. Their New Heights podcast with his brother. I mentioned that. I haven't. I might subscribe to that. I haven't even seen one episode. I've been so busy, but looks to be some good insight as far as the brothers are concerned, and as far as the Eagles and the Chiefs teams, respectively. Now, Raiders. Here is a look. This is a quote that might get the Chiefs fired up. At least Mahomes. Now, I don't know if I think Mahomes made that quote as far as saying he is a little disappointed, quote unquote. I think he made, or in bittersweet, I think he made this comment before he saw this headline. Raiders cornerback drops viral quote about Mahomes, and he says the act is over. That's what the Raiders player said about Mahomes, right? So the Las Vegas Raiders cornerback Jack Jones had a viral quote ahead of the Chiefs-Raiders Christmas Day game that oozes confidence, but I can guarantee you will fire up the Chiefs team and specifically Patrick Mahomes. Now, cornerback Jack Jones for the Raiders says, quote unquote, "We're not worried about him," Jones says on December 21st, which was yesterday, Thursday, when asked about Kansas City's receiving core, wide receivers. He said, "We're not worried about him." He says, quote unquote, "It's Patrick Mahomes we got to stop. The magician. If you stop the magician, then the act is over." Well, look, I can't necessarily disagree with him. As y'all know, I've been basically downplaying this Kansas City wide receiving core all season long, even before the season started. I was like, who are these guys? I've only a few names stuck out, and those guys were second and third string wide receivers. So yeah, listen, I wouldn't be worried if I was the other team, quite honestly, about the wide receivers. And he's true, right? I've kind of given Mahomes the nickname, how Magic Johnson, how magical he was with the basketball. Some of the viewers might not remember watching him, but he was, unseen before Magic Johnson uh, uh, got his playing time in the NBA. Just his ball handling skills, the way he played basketball. That's why they call Magic Johnson, right? Well, I feel the same way about Mahomes. I think I said, no, I didn't have this podcast, but I remember mentioning it. I think it was to my dad or to a friend. He's like Magic. He's like Magic Johnson, Magic Mahomes, something like of that sort, right? And Jack Jones is, he didn't say a lie. He didn't speak any lies. I mean, look, Mahomes, what he does on the football field is damn near magical. I think everybody can agree to that, right? Like, we haven't really seen somebody with this skill set come into the league, take over by storm, and just basically transform and transcend not only the position, quarterback position, but the whole league. Basically, the Steph Curry of the NFL, right? So what did he say that's wrong? Now, if you're on the Chiefs, of course, you're going to take offense to that. You're going to want to show out. You're going to want to disprove him. You're probably going to want to, if you're a wide receiver, you're probably going to want to get paired up on him on the offense and just ball out all over him, catching balls left and right, going for like $120 in the first half, right? So I'm sure the team is very aware of Mr. Jack Jones's comments, and I will keep an eye on him. Now, I don't know what number he is, but just look out for Jack Jones, cornerback for the Raiders, because I'm sure they're going to target him and disprove him. Now, let's see. Yes, look, they got 37 drops. Kansas City has a leading 37 drop passes. Again, he didn't really say anything that's not true. But we'll keep an eye on that. I don't see any more trash talk. It looks like those were the only good quotes out of his press conference, but we'll definitely keep. What number is he? Number 18. Number 18 for the Raiders. I got my eye on you. Okay. Here's a little side note. This is a side note that probably shouldn't affect the game. Well, it might. Okay, look. Bo Hardigree is a offensive coach for the Raiders. Now, why is his name in this preview of the Chiefs versus the Raiders? Well, if you remember a couple weeks ago when the Raiders exploded for, 60-something points? 62 points, something like that. They moved him into the play calling position and or lead offensive coordinator, but he's in the booth, but he basically has say-so over the offense. As you know, and Josh McDaniels for the Raiders got fired earlier in the season, and they have a new interim head coach, but it shook things up inside the front office, and the interim head coach can kind of call the shots when it comes to coaches. So the interim head coach put Bo Hardigree is he OC? Let me see. Long story short is he basically called the offense for the game last week that scored them 60-something points. So he puts a new twist on things offensively for the Raiders, and this will be something interesting to watch during the game to see if the Chiefs defense can pick up on tendencies, because remember, as you scout these teams throughout the season, you kind of know what to expect, right? Minus a few surprise plays that they haven't shown all season. But for the most part, look, if you're going into week 15, 16, when you get into the last month of the season, you kind of know what to expect when you have a team, an offense that's had the same quarterback, the same offensive coordinator, the same personnel all season long. Kind of know what to expect. And I think that's why or not why, but helped the Raiders score so many points is just having new play calling, right? New schemes, just a new identity. Offensively, the opposing team didn't know what to expect, and Las Vegas just drove the ball up and down the field. So keep an eye on the Raiders offense. Now, this Chiefs defense, very, very, very good defense. So this should be a great matchup between the Raiders offense and the Chiefs defense. Let's see. He takes advantage of the full field. Offensive coordinator. Let's see. Helps out his young quarterback. And other Raiders links. Okay, so we just went over this quote. Jack Jones. What else going on with the Raiders? Raiders waive Malik Reed, defensive end Malik Reed. Raiders have a holiday charity event, blah, 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 blah. All right, so we will definitely get into the injuries for this week. Now, they still have to put an injury report out today, which I was waiting to record this. I was ready this morning, but I was like just sitting here waiting for the injury report to come in, and it wasn't. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to record and go off of Thursday's injury report. But it looks like they will stick, unless there's any unforeseen injury or mishap in practice today. The injury report you see from Thursday, the 20th of December, should stick until game day, but we'll see. Here is the injury report we were just speaking of. This is from Thursday. Now, it looks like these 4 players. I might put out another video tomorrow or Sunday. I'll probably put another video out Sunday, quick video of an injury report, because as of right now, Jerick McKinnon, the running back, Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, Cam Jones, linebacker, Nick Bolton, linebacker, all did not practice Thursday. McKinnon had a groin injury. Toney has a hip injury. Cam Jones, illness, sick. And then Nick Bolton has a wrist and or abdomen injury. So they all did not practice. I will keep you all updated as far as their status for Monday's game. And then you got all the rest of these players. Look, you got Trey Smith, Morris, Kelsey's here on the injured report for a neck, which is interesting. He was a full participant, however, which means he probably just had some soreness, whatever. But they still have to list them. Pacheco, shoulder, Rashee Rice, hamstring, Snead, knee, Reed, knee, and McCole Hardman is on the injured reserve. So I'll do that. I'll promise you that. I'll definitely on Sunday get a most current, most up-to-date video out on the injuries, as well as the Raiders too, because look, they had quite a few did not practices. Any names? Yes, Josh Jacobs, running back, their all-pro running back, was out with a quad, did not practice. However, doing some homework before I hit record, it says he is expected to play. So that's what I'm saying. In a couple days on Sunday, I'll come out with a new injury report video just so we can keep everybody updated. Colton Miller, I believe, said he was going to play as well, but he was in limited practice as of Thursday. So let's go over some notes here. Running back Pacheco was listed on the injury report with full designation. Barring any setback, he should be good to go on Monday versus the Raiders. That's very good. Your number 1 running back. Hopefully, we can get him the full amount of balls he's used to, or touches he's used to getting per game. I would like to see them use him a little more in the passing game, as I mentioned a few weeks ago. And as we mentioned, Chiefs are missing 4 players here. Let's see. Bolton was listed as with a wrist and abdomen designation. And okay, so yeah. Let's see. That looks like it's about it. Oh, yes, this is one I wanted to check on. Max Crosby. If y'all remember when we played the Raiders just a few weeks ago, he was questionable to play. Now it looks like he's going to be questionable again. We are going to be questioning his participation in the Christmas Day game. It says the All-Pro defensive end has a knee issue, was among those not practicing. The Raiders have been managing his knee issue for a while now. That's what had him questionable a few weeks ago, and it's becoming common for him to miss the first 2 practices of each week. And let's see, running back Josh Jacobs remains out of practice, but as of today, Friday afternoon, I believe he said he's going to play. And then Andre James was limited. Their center offensive lineman missed last week's game. So we will keep you up to date on the injuries leading up to the game. And what do you know? I refreshed my injury report page and it's posted. So on Arrowhead Addict, they have, not Arrowhead Addict. Let me go to, it looks like right here we have injury report. Week 16, Chiefs versus the Raiders. It's the most current December 22nd at 3:37, which is just about 9 minutes ago. The updated most current injury report. Let's see if anything has changed from what I just stated a few minutes ago. It does not appear to change as far as the did not practices. I take that back. Nick Bolton, who was out with an illness, was a full participant, full participant in practice today. Now, Cam Jones, your linebacker, did sit out today's practice with an illness. Jerick McKinnon, the running back, sat out today's practice with a groin, as well as Kadarius Toney with a hip injury, which is interesting. And then you see here McCall Hardman, Donovan Smith, neck, did not practice. Kelsey, full participant, but is listed on the injury report with a neck injury. And Pacheco was a full participant in practice. That's good news. That means he should be on the road to starting on Monday. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It says personal reasons did not practice. That is interesting. Doesn't give a reason why. Could be a number of reasons, right? Obviously, something in a personal life that had to have him step away for a day. So, I will, if anything changes between now and Monday, I will definitely let you know. Let's see if anything changed for the Raiders. Max Crosby did not practice. We just went over his injury history. Let's see. Josh Jacobs did not practice. Okay, so he says he, again, expected to play, but I would say right now it's questionable because if you're not practicing through the week and especially Friday leading up to the game, and he's missed previous weeks, so questionable. If that changes, I'll let you know. Any other news? Colton Miller, limited practice. DJ Turner, shoulder, did not practice. Interesting. Well, as we go through the injury report, the Chiefs did move McCall Hardman to the injured reserve and made some roster changes just a couple of days ago. It says the Chiefs signed new wide receiver and tight end before this Week 16 game. Chiefs have added Anthony Miller and Isaiah Gathings to the mix in late in the season. And one of the players has previously played with Kansas City. It says Gathings is a long-term play at tight end in the same way that Jody Fordson was when he first signed, a prospect out of Middle Tennessee State. Gathings signed with the Chiefs last spring as a rookie free agent. who was a former wide receiver turned tight end. Gathings originally signed with the New York Jets out of camp, but the Chiefs signed him after he was cut by the Jets. So they're bringing him back. He knows the playbook. They obviously have interest in him. They signed him out of the draft as a free agent. So it sounds like, especially here in the article, that they're hoping to ink him to a futures deal, meaning sign him maybe to a 1 or 2 year deal at the league minimum, or just over for the future. Now, as the true wide receiver, Anthony Miller, he's a veteran who fans might recognize after playing for various teams around the NFL. He was originally a second-round pick by the Chicago Bears back in 2018, and he spent a few seasons there before landing with the Houston Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2021. He spent last preseason with the San Francisco 49ers before being cut. So, it says Miller's addition makes sense as practice squad signing who adds security to a unit with injuries present to Sky Moore and Mecole Hardman, and with a history of them with Kadarius Toney and Richie James and Justin Ross. Now, they are getting Justin Ross back. If you remember, we reported on he had the domestic incident with his girlfriend. Now, I believe that was right around week 8 or week 10, something like that. And then he got a 6-game suspension from the NFL. Ongoing case. I heard some details. I'll link the video in our description box below that describes in detail the incident. So they do get him back. Now, hopefully, he has not been able to practice with the team. It was one of the suspensions where he had to stay away, no practice, obviously no games. So hopefully I'm sure the team's been in contact with him while he's been away, telling him, every day, work out, and, and stay out of trouble, please. So who knows? Look, at this point, Justin Ross, as we were just talking about, joined the team, is activated, and is expected to play this Christmas Day versus the Raiders. The Chiefs need any help they can get with this wide receiving core. Bring them on. Look, I can't expect him to have a huge day because he's just coming back, but you never know. I doubt he will have a big impact, but look, just catching a few balls, getting 50, 60 yards, I would say that's a big return for him. So let's see here. Now, the Chiefs lead the AFC West at 9-5. And the Raiders are in third place in the AFC West at 6-8. Now, both teams are coming off of a win. But one stat that jumps out to me, look, it's going to be a home game at Arrowhead. And look at the away record for Las Vegas. They're 1-5. Now, the Chiefs are a 10-point favorite in Las Vegas. No pun intended. The Raiders bring the odds with them and we'll get a win. But rolling into this postseason, getting a win would be huge. Now, it's not the end of the world if we lose, but you do want to be playing good rolling into the playoffs. Now that you're out of the number 1 seed in the AFC, positioning will be a factor, especially with this Chiefs offense and how inconsistent they are. Prefer to have games at home. So let's see where they stack up as far as the playoff picture. Now, the Ravens have the number 1 spot in the AFC. They've clinched a playoff berth already at 11-3. The Dolphins, who the Chiefs beat in Germany, are number 2 in the AFC at 10-4. Now, it says the AFC East might come down to the last game of the season with the Bills. That's going to be a huge game and might determine, I doubt the Chiefs get to the number 1 spot, but It could now the Chiefs do own the, I guess, tiebreaker since they beat the Dolphins already this year, but the Dolphins and Bills game could land the Chiefs in the number 2 spot if the Chiefs continue to win and the Dolphins lose that last game with the Bills. I believe that would catapult the Chiefs into the number 2 slot and get them a bye as well. But let's see who else. We got the Jags at number 4 in the AFC. Now the wild card teams, you have the Browns, the Bengals, and the Colts. And then outside looking in, Texans, Bills, Steelers, Broncos, which is absolutely amazing. I will check and see if CJ Stroud's going to play. He's been out the last 2 weeks with a concussion. Hopefully he gets back, they get some wins, and they can sneak in. They do play the Colts. I believe it's the last game of the season. Texans play Colts. That might be to get in the playoffs. So we'll keep an eye on that. And as we just mentioned, the Bills here, outside looking in, do play the Miami Dolphins last game of the season. So that could play a factor as well as far as playoff seeding. Don't believe the Raiders will be getting in at 6-8. There's just too much going on here. But that will do it for this weekend's game preview. Now, there was something that came up. Just out of nowhere, right? And it definitely took me by surprise. And I haven't heard of this topic or anybody even say this word in probably, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 8-10 years ago. But you remember going into the Patriots game, the Chiefs playing in New England last week? The kicker, Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker, phenomenal season, was having a perfect season. He's made every field goal, and he has also hit every single extra point. So wow, So going into the game, he was a definite shining light on one aspect of this Chiefs team, at least for special teams. Now, throughout the game, I remember thinking, and I remember thinking, something's off. And there's also a stat where he's kicked 87% of his kickoffs. So after the Chiefs score and they line up to kick it to the other team, 87% of his kickoffs have been touchbacks, and the ball has gone out of the end zone, basically, right? So he kicks it basically the full length, right? Almost kicking a whole nother field goal on a kickoff. His leg is that strong. In the Patriots game, he didn't even, on the kickoffs, he didn't even barely make it to the 5-yard line, nowhere close to the end zone. And he missed a field goal in the first half. And I remember thinking, damn, something's off. And I was like, I don't know. Thinking a couple of things went through my head, right? Is it weather? Something wrong with him? Maybe it's his uniform. I don't know. Is he sick? Was he on the injury report? He had me looking at the injury report. No, he wasn't on there. So whatever, and just continued to watch the game and never thought about it again until this happened. There's a new report. And that's not it. There's a new report of Deflategate is back. No, I'm just kidding. It's not back, but the balls were deflated. And that is a fact. And interestingly enough, what do you know? It has to do with the New England Patriots. Oh, God. So here's the deal. There was a new report coming out saying footballs in New England were deflated, but don't blame the Patriots this time. Now, there's tons of articles on this, but I believe the AP is on the East Coast, and I think they were very pro-Patriots in this article. right? Don't blame the Patriots. But here's the deal. It says the special teams footballs used in last Sunday's game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots were reportedly underinflated, and not just by a little bit. It was quite a bit. Now they're claiming not by the Patriots this time. An ironic throwback to the deflategate scandal. Blah 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 blah. Where's the info? Give me the info. It says, man, these ads are just ridiculous. Oh my god. It says, really? You're not going to let me read the article? You're messing up my whole stream. Patriots complained to the officials during the first half of the Chiefs' 27-17 victory that the balls used by the punters and kickers, which are specially marked and referred to as quote-unquote K-balls, were too soft. Now, the Patriots are claiming that they alerted the officials during the first half that the balls were underinflated. Now, apparently, representatives of the NFL, every NFL game has NFL employees at the game. They were tested at halftime and found to be inflated to 11 psi instead of the league mandated range of 13. But their specs say technically in the rule book, the balls have to be inflated from 12.5 to 13.5. But they put that 1 psi in there as a fluctuation, right? Because they will high pressure, low pressure, if it's hot, if it's cold, it'll fluctuate just a little bit. But from what I understand, all the game balls are set at 13 psi, and that's why they give a 0.5 over and a 0.5 under for the fluctuation. So all the balls, right? No, I believe it's just the kicking balls. Was it? Or was it throwing balls? It says special teams. So look, another report says that it was all the balls. So that's not a little underinflated. And they are supposed to one of the things that came out of Deflategate with Tom Brady, new rules as far as how that whole inflation operation goes. They're tested by multiple people with multiple indicators, PSI indicators, testers. So if one is off, because if you're just testing these underinflated balls with a faulty PSI gauge, and you're saying, oh yeah, it shows 13, but maybe that's bad or broken, right? And then you go get a brand new PSI gauge and it's showing 11. So that's why they have multiple people testing it with multiple PSI gauges to make sure that no funny business is going on, or nobody can claim that, oh, this was broken, I guess. So there's ways around it that they implemented after the whole Deflategate with Tom Brady. Now, Patriots coach Bill Belichick said Friday, we were aware of it in the first quarter. He said, you have to talk to the league what happened on that, because we don't have anything to do with that. They control all of that. Which he's a famous denier, and just, you're not getting any info out of him. Let's see, what other info we got? Now, your Chiefs head coach, Andy Reid, basically said, because he was asked about it at his press conference this week after the game, when he was asked about it, last week's game was about 5-6 days ago. So he was asked about 4 or 5 days ago after this game, and Coach Reid said he hadn't heard of any issues, and he said, I'm not worried about all of that, quote unquote. Which means, look, they won, so what does he care, right? I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want that to happen again, but he's like, whatever, it's in the past, we won. a website reported that Bill Belichick confirmed that the Patriots sensed something was wrong when Kansas City's Harrison Butker, who has put 87% of his kickoffs this season into the end zone for touchbacks, sent his game opening kick only to the 3-yard line. During the first half, both teams' kickers missed field goals, including a 39-yard attempt. That was Butker's first miss of the season. And 39 is not that far for him. Coach Bill Belichick says, "I think you could see that by the kicks," meaning something was not right. Belichick said, "Butker had a perfect season going on, quote unquote. The balls were checked at halftime and fixed. Butker made 2 field goals in the second half, and every kickoff, both teams kicked off in the end zone." So, coincidence, or they're doing some funny business? I would like to think that they're not doing any funny business, but it is mighty strange when it appears that all the special teams balls were underinflated. So, look, I don't know what's going on. You can speculate all you want. It is kind of funny how it involves the Patriots again. As we mentioned, the scandal known to be deflategate. Patriots were fined $1 million and docked 2 draft picks, and Brady was suspended for the first 4 games of the season. What year was that? Okay, so that must have been the 2016 year, because they're saying the incident happened in 2015. It says in a 243-page report, an NFL investigator zeroed in on 2 equipment managers. One who referred to himself in a text message as, quote unquote, the deflator, and concluded that Brady was at least generally aware of the illegal deflation plans. The Patriots defended Brady, countering the league's scientific evidence was flawed. Brady appealed to the NFL commissioner and then the federal courts. After a Second Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals panel reinstated his suspension, Brady sat out the first 4 games of the 2016 season. New England went on to win the Super Bowl that season. Despite only playing 12 games, Brady was a runner-up in MVP voting. In response to the scandal, the NFL changed its procedures to put pregame control of the footballs in the hands of the officials, not the individual teams. So how did this happen? So then the officials need to be blamed, right? Because if the teams don't have anything to do with the balls, the officials do, then how did these special teams balls get deflated so much? Look, I don't think we're ever going to know or find out, because this is probably going to be the last thing we hear about it. Probably going to, sweep it under the rug. But it is, kind of funny to, I couldn't believe this story, honestly. I was like, I just could not believe that something like this would happen again, and with the New England Patriots. All right. Chief Studios, we will be back with more Kansas City Chiefs coverage. And go Chiefs. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. And we will see you on Sunday. Peace.